Why don't we Africans create job and hire the Europeans? Why it is only Europeans and Chinese who are providing jobs for Africans? What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? Are we cheap labor for the Chinese? Are we cheap labor for the Europeans? The time has come, my dear kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, to change these narratives. When Africans will say enough is enough, we are tired of being cheap laborers. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, my dear friends, fellow Africans here in the continent, and to those who are in the diaspora. I have good news that the young leader of Burkina Faso, Capt Traore, rejected the IMF loans. And of course, Traore maintains rejection of the IMF loan. The leader of Burkina Faso has reiterated his decision of rejecting loans from the IMF and the World Bank. Remember last year, Traore rejected the very same financial assistance, suggesting that his country will rely on self-reliance. So, do you see this is a good step taken by Captain Ibrahim Traore? Or maybe you think something different from Captain Ibrahim Traore? Because we have seen some countries went to IMF to take loans and they come to build infrastructures, something like that. Then after a certain time, when it comes to elections, people demonstrated and distracting those infrastructures. For instance, recently you heard about the story about Mozambique, where people demonstrated broken infrastructures, distracting things on the ground. But remember, those amount that was taken to build those infrastructures came from loan. So, and we have to pay, of course. So, do you see that we need to go to the IMF to take the loans? Yes, there are those who believe like that. But for me, I think Captain Ibrahim Traore is right. We don't need to go to the IMF. For instance, you find the country has minerals. For instance, Democratic Republic of Congo, one of the richest resource country, but also the poorest country in terms of development. Does Congo need to go to the IMF to take loans? Does, if Burkina Faso with only gold has decided not to go to the IMF, what about Zambia, the country that is famous for having cobalt and copper wire or copper minerals? Do we need to go to the IMF and take money? How these resources are helping Africans? You know, sometimes I've been asking myself, what do these resources do for the continent of Africa? You find we have everything. We have critical minerals. You find those they call strategic minerals. We have strategic minerals like lithium, coltan, uranium. But these minerals are so expensive. But we have those minerals. But still, we are still poor. We don't have money. But those who are taking these resources, these minerals, are those who are funding us. How is it possible? If they are taking our resources and they become rich, why don't we who own these resources are poor? Why don't we maybe get some amount of money when these countries or powerful countries are taking our resources? So I think that's something that we need to do as the people of Africa. Those are just my opinions from the decision of Captain Ibrahim Traore. But all in all, my dear kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, please share with us your opinions and what is your thought on this. Do you want other African countries to follow the same steps? Or we need more leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traore? You know, sometimes it's about the issue of leadership. It's not about the issue of maybe country. It's about the issue of leaders. Many of our leaders are so polite. Many of our leaders are so diplomatic. They love to make white people happy. They love to make white company nationals happy instead of making Africans happy. You see, and that's why you see, for instance, the young leader of Burkina Faso, despite he came to power through military coup, is the one who was celebrated more than any leader when he attended the inauguration of the president of Ghana, Johnny Mahama. But at that time, or at that inauguration, there was a lot of political elected leaders, but they didn't get the applause got or went to Captain Traore, you can see how things is on the ground. The people of Africa need someone who can help them. The people of Africa need someone who can serve them well. You know, I've been saying this many times. The people of Africa are not much interested on the issue of elections. The people of Africa are much interested to someone who can serve them, who can protect their resources. You see, for instance, as I ask you, do you see that there's a need for the country such as Democratic Republic of Congo to go to the IMF and the World Bank to seek loans? You see, the country that has strategic minerals, why don't Congo sell their minerals and to get fund? What's wrong for Congo? Or maybe these resources in Democratic Republic of Congo are not owned by Congolese. These resources are in Congo but owned by maybe Belgium or US, or, and of course recently you remember that the outgoing president of United States of America, Joe Biden, opened the Lobito corridor. Do you think the Lobito corridor is for the purpose of the Congolese? Remember that Congolese are suffering in Kiev, in Eastern Congo. There's a war, but you find the powerful countries building infrastructures. Despite there's wars, but the Western power are concentrating on building railway to make sure that you Africans continue fighting. We are establishing this railway to make sure that resources are going out. You see? So they're interested with our resources. So my dear kings and queens, those are just my opinions. So don't take me long. I'm just thinking, maybe I'm long the way I'm thinking, but I think we need new kind of leadership in this continent. Young people has demonstrated that they need changes. And of course, Captain Ibrahim Traore has shown the way that those who don't believe in young people must believe on them. You know, one day I asked to my dear friends that, you know, our elders are saying, young people, you're still young, you can't do this, but they forgot about Kwame Nkrumah. When Kwame Nkrumah fight for independence, it is at the age of 30 something or 40 something. When Nyerere and his counterpart fought for independence, they were young. But our leaders today, they are telling us, you know, you are still young, you can't do this, you wait until you don't have wisdom. Where do you want wisdom to come from? It's about to have gray hair, you become more wisdom. I don't think like that. I think young people must be trusted and given opportunities. And of course, we don't need someone to give us opportunities. We need to go and take those opportunities. Young people, wherever you are, in the continent, in the diaspora, when you see the opportunity, take the opportunity. If you see you can invest in industries, go and invest. Don't wait elders to come and say, you know, there's something here, there, you can go and take. No, don't think like that. You know, our elders, when they saw opportunities, those opportunists, when they see there's opportunities, what they do? They go to China, they find investor. They go to Europe, they find investor. Then what next? Investors are coming, investing, and what they tell us, you will be hired, you will get a job. Why don't we Africans create job and hire the Chinese? Why don't we Africans create job and hire the Europeans? Why it is only Europeans and Chinese who are providing jobs for Africans? What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? Are we cheap labor for the Chinese? Are we cheap labor for the Europeans? The time has come, my dear kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, to change these narratives. When Africans will say enough is enough, we are tired of being cheap laborers, and have seen also one of our presidents telling us that he has got the job abroad. Which job abroad we are going to do? We left minerals here, we left horrible land here, we left everything, and then we go to Europe to become gardener, to wash old men and women there. We are tired of that. So we Africans, we deserve better. We deserve good things. We have been suffered since slavery, colonialism, neo-colonialism, and today, in the era of artificial intelligence, we are still suffering. So we need to say enough is enough. So my dear kings and queens, as I said, those are just my opinions. If it doesn't make sense to you, please keep it aside. But those are just my opinions. Thank you. Have a nice time.